What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. This is your girl, Mommy Coach. Woo! Guys, so happy to be here today to share with you a survivor story. Excited to hear it, excited to share it with the world. So much to learn from, so much to maybe resonate with. You know, everyone's situation may be different, but we all have a story. And I think it's important that this story gets out for whatever reason. Guys, if this resonates with you with the survivor story, make sure you take a moment, hit that link in the notification in the description box and book your free interview with me. Take a moment to, be anonymous and tell your story. You never know who you're gonna have. So, hello, survivor. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I am good. I am good. Thank you for asking. Thank you for taking this time to tell us your story. So I am so excited to hear what you have to share. So I'm gonna try to be quiet and listen because I'm very intrigued in what you're gonna share. But I'm gonna try and ask some questions. My first question is, can you tell me what led you to wanting to book this interview today?
Well, I've been watching your content for the last few months and going back and looking at older videos that you've already had out there. And I just really resonated with your content, your delivery, the stories that you've had on here as well. It is a lot of content creators out here, but you resonate with who you resonate.
Yes.
And like I told you earlier, I think if it's not your delivery, it's definitely the stories that you've had on here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Be similar.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Okay, great. All right. So, if I'm not mistaken, you were in a marriage and
Yes.
really just kind of discovered that what you were dealing with was a narcissistic personality disordered person and a narcissistic marriage. So, how long was this marriage or relationship?
Wow. Well, the marriage lasted a little bit over a year, but we weren't together for most of that year.
Okay.
But we met in 2007.
Oh, wow.
Um, right.
Okay.
Um, One of the things when we first met, I had just lost a fiance in 2007 due to a car crash.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So, although I had lost other, older people in my life, grandparents, aunts, uncles, it's different when it's your spouse or your intended spouse. It's a different loss.
Yeah.
Um, and being that I was new to the city, I had only lived here for about 5 years. That was my really connection here. So I just really felt lost in this new city I had just moved to 5 years prior.
Okay.
So after he passed, I just really, like I said, I didn't feel connected to too many people. However, I did work. I was a hairstylist by trade. So I had people around, but not necessarily close people. So maybe a month after my fiance passed, I was still grieving. I had to actually fight with his mom, but that's a whole nother story. That's not for this story. But yeah, so I was at a low place. So I met with my ex narc maybe a month after. And, I basically was not attracted to him, but I'm a nice person,
Mm,
empath. I didn't want to hurt his feelings to say, ew, get out of here, because that's not how you treat people.
mm,
So I basically used my grieving, which was true. I was still grieving a month in. I actually grieved that relationship for a long time. So a month in, I just let him know I was grieving and I, really wasn't dating. So then he immediately said, "Oh, well, you need a friend, and I could be there for you." Yada yada yada.
where did he meet you?
We were, I think, I was going into the mall, and he was coming out of the mall,
Okay.
and he just kind of saw me and was like, "Hey, pretty lady," or something to that effect. So, not to be rude to him, but I'm like, "Oh God, I'm not interested." I wasn't interested.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Um,
So you
so
numbers. from that moment,
I
and
did.
that's how it
And I
continued.
should not have. Right. But yes, I
Oh,
exchanged
it's
numbers
okay.
with
Don't say
him.
that. Look, we all ignore
I'm
that.
still
Yeah,
there, right?
it's okay. Okay. All right. So I'm trying to understand the love bombing phase. So it's pretty clear. He
Yeah, so I'm very clear because again, then I started using him as an outlet. Once we started talking, what I was really going through, and what I found after my fiance passed was the people that I thought were my friends were really not necessarily my friends or there for me. When people say, "Oh, call me with anything you need, I'll be there." That's just something people say, and that was the first time I really had to experience that.
wow.
So, like I said, I really felt down. Not necessarily just the loss of that, but just the loss of the connections I thought I had.
Mhm.
Even people would lie to me about things like I moved into a new apartment and I needed like my TVs hung on the wall. I mean, I was a female. I wasn't really used to doing stuff like that then. And I would have people tell me, "Oh, I'll be out there." And then at the last minute, they cancel. And this went on for a few weeks. So, I'm telling this guy this. So he's like, "Oh, hey, I can come put it up. I'll come by and put your TV up. You do need, help." So just over the weeks of time, that's how he became, I guess, a fixture in my life. So maybe July, August of that same year, he was like, "I can't believe you're not dating. You know what? I'm going to come over and cook for you because I noticed you just eat a lot of junk food, yada, yada." Now, he came over and cooked. At that time, I mean, I'm if you can see me now, and I'm a solid size, but I probably was even more solid then. And I was a fat girl at heart. I loved to eat. He was a good cook, so he kind of got me there as far as that. But we ended up like drinking wine and falling asleep watching movies. I woke up to him like trying to come on to me. And I just instantly I got mad because that wasn't the nature of our, friendship. I told him he had two choices. He could leave or he could go back to sleep.
Mm.
And I said it with no, cut cards. He saw how serious I was and he laid back down because it was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So fast forward to maybe, and like I said, I was a hairstylist. So this is '07. '08, I actually opened a salon. And he was an electrician by trade. So I used him for some services. But again, nothing had never occurred with us. Just hit or miss now conversations. We may hang out once or twice a month, but nothing, nothing set in stone. I wasn't like a priority and he wasn't a priority because one, I wasn't really dating. It was just a hangout session at the time. Um, maybe about I think it was about 08 or oh yeah, maybe the end of '08. He kind of told, well, maybe the begin sometime in '08 or early '09. He told me that wow, you're just really hard to crack. That should have been my first red flag. Why are you trying to crack me? What is it about me that you're trying to crack? Like one, I am grieving, and about in '09, I had kind of started getting better. But again, like I said in the beginning, I was not attracted to him in that way. So it kind of was easy to, just keep the friendship or what I thought was a friendship. And he came out, he said, "You're hard to crack." I don't usually have a problem with women. I have my own job, my own apartment, my own car. I dress well. This is what he tells me. So I'm a Taurus. I don't know how you feel about signs, but yeah, I'm pretty stubborn. So I doubled down, and I'm like,
Yeah, those
"Oh,
horns,
really?"
right? Uh-huh. Those toys.
Those horns went up. I'm like, "Oh, really? You don't have a problem with women? Well, you're gonna have a problem with this one because I'm not gonna come around that easy." And especially since I see that you expect it, but I still didn't see that as narcissism or anything. I just kind of thought it as cocky at best. So we kind of lost contact, not really keeping, close. And I think maybe I had lost the phone or changed numbers. Somehow we lost like all contact in 2009. In '09, maybe toward the end of the year, that's when Facebook was kind of becoming big. He reached out and found me on Facebook. And so we kind of rekindled just talking. Again, being that he wasn't like my primary focus at that time, I'm trying to get my business off the ground and all that stuff. I'm not really watching him like that.
Yeah.
So, like I said, when he reached out in November, wished me and my family a happy holidays and all of that stuff. So, we started kind of keeping in contact here and there, here and there. And then in early 2010, he told me he lost his job. And he explained to me that did contract work as an electrician, and sometimes the contract would end before they renewed and all that stuff. That's strange to me because I've been working since I was 13 and have not ever not worked. Even though I started as a shampoo assistant doing hair and all of that stuff, but that just was strange for this grown man to not be working. So, I'm kind of, and one of the things I also did was I worked on resumes. So I told him I can kind of fix your resume, all of that good stuff. So nonetheless, he's still down on his luck and, feeling bad about his situation. So I remember maybe the end of 2010, I kind of volunteered. I said, hey, let me take you out because you seem to be really down or whatever. So I took him out to the movies. We had a good time. Again, nothing sexual between us at the time. I'm just looking out for a person that I think is down on his luck. So we were communicating, hanging out from time to time, not nothing regular. In 2011, my phone rang. And like I said, I'm a hairstylist. So women, I get numbers from, calls from numbers that's not necessarily saved in my phone a lot. So I wasn't familiar with the number. I answered the phone and someone asked for me. And I said, yes, this is she. And the lady says, oh, this is yada yada's wife. And I'm like, oh, first of all, I didn't even really call him by his government name. He had a nickname that he told me was his real name, which I thought was his real name at the time. So I said, who do you mean? Like, just say JJ. That's not his name, but just say, you mean JJ? So she's like, yeah, they call him that sometimes. And I said, oh, okay. Well, no, I wasn't aware that he was married, because I'm confused. I don't know where this is coming from because, again, it's nothing between us. But I'm like, no, I wasn't aware that he was married, but really the nature of our relationship, I guess it wouldn't matter because it's nothing, sexual or inappropriate with us. So she says, well, I'm trying to figure out, should I let him back in? So another red flag. You calling as his wife, but you're saying let him back in. So she says, I've been looking through his phone and you're not the only female in here. So I'm thinking, why are you telling me this? Like, he's not my boyfriend. I don't care. That's your problem. So she says, I want to know what's going on with you. I said, lady, there's nothing going on with us. Just, and actually, I think I was doing a client at the time. So I'm trying to be professional without really getting, I guess, ghetto and telling her, look, I told you, so so nonetheless, so she says, well, I want to know, can he move in with you? Because he's trying to move back in with me. And I see he's up to his old tricks. I said, lady, my boyfriend wouldn't even go for that. I didn't have a boyfriend the first at the time, but still, just letting her know how serious I'm not on this guy. It's 2011.
Oh man.
So we get off the phone, and so my client is looking like, what? And so, that's not the image I'm trying to portray. I'm into ghetto mess with somebody's husband. Like, so I'm trying to keep that kind of quiet. The next day he calls me and was like, what's up, T? I mean, whatever. And he says, and I said, hey, what's up? And he was like, did somebody call you for me? And I was like, yeah, your wife. So he's like, oh, what did she say? I'm like, hold on, Ninja. Did you hear what I said? Your wife, because you never told me that you've had a wife. All these times you've been trying to get in my pants, all these years, keep trying your hand, saying all these things to me, hanging out with me. You didn't think it was vital that you tell me, oh, well, we're going through a separation. So I didn't think you needed to know that. Because I didn't think you would talk to me if you knew the truth. And I'm like, I don't appreciate you, taking that away from me. I've been in a situation like that where I met a guy who claimed he was separated and going through a divorce. And when I checked, he actually was going through a divorce. And he actually did get his divorce very close to the time he told me he would. So that was believable. So, like, you never know what somebody has experience with. You shouldn't take that from them. So okay, so I kind of laid away from him, and again, I don't know why back then I was a little younger and probably more carefree. My number probably changed, like I was in the CIA program. So so anyway, I lost contact with him again. I guess through my phone changing, his phone changing. In 2013, he reached back out to me on Facebook to say that, how was I doing, all of this stuff, and that he had filed for a divorce.
Mm.
So I'm like, okay, good for you. But honestly, at that time in 2013, I had started a relationship. It wasn't necessarily the best relationship because it probably was a rebound. That was the first relationship after, losing my fiance. So he probably was not the best. But it was somebody that at least was attracted to.
Okay.
So um by 2014, that relationship hadn't gotten any better. 2014, this guy calls me up, JJ. That's not his real name, but we'll call him JJ. JJ calls me up to say, hey, you know what? I have a surprise for you. Meet me at my apartment, and plus, and I used to. He's from the South, so he used to like make a mean pot of like 9 bean, 13 bean soup or something. So he's like, plus I have the soup for you. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I go get the soup, and as I'm like about to leave, he hands me an envelope. So I read it, and it's his divorce decree.
Okay.
So that's when I realized his name was not JJ, even though the nickname was a little bit more elaborate than that. It was Jerome. Just say that's not his name, not even the initial, but that it was actually something else. So that's when I'm like, okay, well, you've been saying this all this time, like that was your actual name, your middle name somewhere. Where does this JJ come from? Because it's not even, oh, well, that's just what they call me on the street. Da 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 da. Okay, well, I've been knowing you now for since 2007, and then I'm just realizing that even JJ is not even a part of your name. Like, okay.
Almost 5 years later, like what?
5 years later. So, he explained some of the things, and I get it because, a lot of people do just go by their nickname and it may not even have any affiliation. But I think in the nature of relationship you were trying to have with me, at least you could have told me that. Well, nonetheless, later on in that year, we kind of started seeing each other a little bit more. I was a sucker for the food. I will admit he was really attentive that way. Oh well, I'll bring you something. And at this time, he still was kind of going back and forth with jobs and all of this stuff. Well, in 2016, he asked me to be in a relationship with him, and
Mm.
I kind of told him, well, no, because you're not stable. And even though I hadn't told him that my relationship that I was in was basically in the pits at this time, I just was like, no, you're not stable. We're not, quite there. He pursued, he pursued, he pursued. So then I actually began a sexual relationship with him. We started staying out nights. I lived with my boyfriend, but we were kind of like more like roommates. It wasn't a relationship at that point. I think June of that year had asked him to move out, and maybe that we could work on a relationship from that point. But I think without moving, we couldn't go forward. For things he wouldn't move. I broke it up, but we still lived in the same house. So like I said, I started staying out with JJ.
Gotcha.
So we're developing a relationship.
Yeah.
In 2018, okay, so then I broke up with the ex-boyfriend. Now JJ and I are kind of seeing each other. We're not in a relationship because, like I said, right now he's not stable. He'll have a job for a few months, off a month, get another contract, things of that nature. I mean, he would do Uber and stuff in between, but he wasn't making steady money. So again, somehow he applied to a government job, with one of the resumes I wrote him. He got on at this government job 2016, into 2016. And, he was doing well. So then he asked me again about the relationship. So I'm like, well, yeah, this could be a career for you if you just, stay and do your part. So we started the relationship. By the end of that year, on his 353rd day, 2 years before his 1 year, I guess before you become permanent, he he was asked to resign. Another red flag. You can't hold on to a job. You can't even hold on to a government job. That's kind of bad.
That's right.
The problem was that he had asked, someone called him out his name at the job. I do believe that happened, but he invited the guy outside. That's not how you handle conflict at work. As a 49, 50-year old person at the time, that's not how you do that. He brought the street to the job and they showed him the street.
Can't control their emotions.
That part. But again, I'm not looking at any of this because I'm doing the things I'm doing.
Yeah.
And actually, at this time, now I'm transitioning out of hair into office work myself because I have a college degree and all of that stuff. Even though I kind of stuck with the hair because of the money and the quick money of it, I was like, well, it's about time I utilize my bachelor's as well. So I got a job also, like I said, doing office work. Um, in 2018, I bought a home. Um, and that same year, I had a heart attack. Now was in my 40s at the time. Yes, I had a heart attack, and again, I don't have my parents aren't up here. Like I said, I moved up here, and then I started the other relationship with my ex fiance that was killed. So I don't have any family really connection up here. So when I had the heart attack, my parents came to visit, but then they had to go back, and so here's Mr. JJ. He's back in the picture to help out and take care of me. And he did, and at that time I really did need a lot. So I'm just kind of looking at my notes.
Maybe.
So in 2018, like I said, after the heart attack, he let me kind of recover for a few months. And then maybe this December of that year, he was like, you know what? I just don't know what would have happened if I would have lost you. I think that we really should to work on this relationship and solidify it. I want to marry. So he proposed.
Mm.
So now this is something internal. I would tell women: you go with your first instinct about a person. Two things that I kind of talked myself into when we were like seeing each other as, I guess, friends. When I first had my apartment after my fiance was killed, I kept noticing two things about him. And my mom, I used to talk to her. I talked to her a lot. And so she's even brought this to my remembrance. She says, you used to always call him needy then. Or he always wanted validation back then. But again, I'm nothing to you. So I'm wondering why you need this. Why do you seem so needy to me? I've never had friends like that or associates like that. But I used to always comment like, this guy seems like very needy. I need to assure him, if I tell him I'm going to do something, I have to keep telling him 30 times I'm going to do it. I didn't understand, but that was a red flag. Hindsight. Hindsight. And
My God.
right, right. So I'm thinking like, oh,
That's a
at the
good.
time, again, it means nothing. It's strange to me, but it means nothing at the time.
Mm.
And then, well, I kind of lost my train of thought. What was I saying right before
Sorry,
the?
I threw you off because you confirmed, the repetitive validation and having to always constantly tell you 100 times what I've already said because you just really don't believe it, or for what I don't know. It's just exhausting. I just, whoo, you took me back to,
I know. And when I saw you, because I saw your head there, like, yes,
yeah,
I think that was when I look back on it. That should have told me something right there, but it didn't because it just was weird to me. Had never
what
experienced that.
dealing with. Yeah, you didn't know what you were dealing with.
And then the second thing, and the love bombing, I didn't really go over this too much, but like, I'm not vain or anything like that, but I get told that I'm attractive or whatever
You
all
are.
the time. Thank you, but it means nothing. I mean, I'm not gonna say it means nothing, but I had nothing
Not
to do with this.
egotistical about it.
Right. It's like I had nothing. Those are my parents. Those their genes getting together, making me yada yada yada. So when people tell me that, thank you. Especially if I put a little outfit together, I feel like it's maybe that. And all of that. But I'm never swayed by that. But that was one of the things that he kind of always love bombed me on. Oh, you're so beautiful. You're so this. But the thing about it was, after my heart attack, I was feeling down because okay, I'm so beautiful, but then I got this scar running down the middle of my chest. So how beautiful is that? Because as a woman,
Yeah,
so
it changed a
it
lot.
changes. It changes you. Because now certain things I don't even want to wear. I mean, as you see my shirt now. So like your shirt is, I would love to wear that, but I wouldn't. Exactly, because it's but nonetheless, um, after that, I kind of just told myself after he, was asking to date me serious and get engaged. I'm like, you know what, you so called so beautiful, but it hasn't brought you any more money. You're no more famous. Not that I'm striving for fame, but you have no more material things. Like it's just a thing. So that's just a small factor. So I can't hold anybody else's looks. I shouldn't hold anybody's looks against them because your looks isn't necessarily a plus. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I told myself.
Woo! Oh my
The devil is a lie.
goodness.
So nonetheless, we engaged. Like I said, we're going through 2019. Now I knew about his mom. She has a disability. She was not hearing. She was not hearing adult, a deaf adult. She had been deaf all her life. She had never lived on her own. She lived with family. But around about the time of 2019, this was right before the pandemic. So like I said, he's asked to engage me. Um, yeah, so 2019, his mom is now having these episodes with her sister. And she lives with her sister, and she's nonverbal, but she, sign language and all that stuff. So she just basically doesn't want to be there. She's going to the hospital every other week. They don't understand what it is because unfortunately, a lot of these hospitals didn't have interpreters, ASL interpreters there that I was really strange. And then she's an older adult, so she kind of maybe her expressing wasn't really, up to, I don't know, but they kept like it was nothing that they could find was wrong with her. She just seemed like she was like throwing tantrums, like she didn't want to be there. That was the best I could explain it because again, I've never experienced that. So one day we're riding in the car. He's an only child. His cousin called him and says, "Hey, what you need to do is," and I don't know if I jumped ahead. So after he engaged me, we got engaged. Um, I did allow him to move in because after my heart attack, I couldn't work for 3 months. I had just bought the house April of that year. I had the heart attack in October. So it's like I was trying to hold on to my house. I needed the extra income because, unemployment was not paying my mortgage and bills. So, that engagement kind of moved things up faster. So yeah, come on and move in. So like I said, in 2019, like I said, we're engaged. Then we're riding in the car. His cousin calls him and says, "Yeah, Auntie, I spoke to Auntie, and she doesn't want. She's been ready for your mom to move." So when I overhear that, because I don't think he realized that I'm in the car, but he was like, what you need to do, JJ, is get out and get your own place, you and your mom. So I'm thinking to myself, like, hold on, Slim, you're not gonna take money out my pocket right now. And two, if this is my mom or about to be my mom, my mother-in-law, I'm gonna treat her like my mom. She's not gonna be anywhere she's not wanted. This is what I'm thinking. Because I would want my mom in a situation that even if my mom's staying with her sister, if she doesn't want her there, then my mom's gonna come with me. That's just my mindset. So I brought it up to him. He was like, "Yeah, well, we can move her in." So then I even moved his mom in 2019. So in 2020, we're engaged, still engaged. I go to my mom's house. I think I had to do my cousin's wedding and do somebody's hair down there. So I go down there, I leave him and his mom here. They live here, so I'm just going to my mom's house to do hair or my cousin's house to do hair. And for some reason, he calls me. Now, at the time, he has this government job. He's working at night. I think he gets off at 11:30 or something of that nature. So for some reason, when he called me, I was asleep. I had fallen asleep from doing hair all that Saturday. All that Friday. And when I woke up, I realized he had called me. I looked at the phone and I realized he's not where he should be. And then when I called him, he says, yeah, I'm just passing, this landmark. So he said, I got off work late. But I'm thinking to myself, even if you're passing that landmark, you would see that. Yeah. So, the George Floyd was 2020, correct?
I think so.
I think so. Yeah. I think it was May of that year, if I'm not mistaken.
Go ahead. I'm going to check while you talk.
Because it was protests everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. So where he was driving should have been protests, because this was May of that year. Am I thinking 2020? 2020. Yep. So yeah, because it was Memorial Weekend when all that stuff happened. Okay. So I didn't believe his story, and like the GPS is showing me one thing on his phone. So I'm like, I'm kind of like baiting him in, because where he was driving past, there should have been protests right there. So I'm like, so hey, can you look over that bridge right there and see if those protesters on there? Because now that I've woken up, I see on the news these people are protesting in my city that I just left from, where they're protesting, and he should be passing there at that time, as he told me. He was like, oh no, I don't see nobody out here. So I'm like, okay. So I kind of bait him in. I was like, I feel like you're lying to me. What? I don't get why you would lie to me. And so he was like, look, I'm just getting off. I don't have time for this. So he hangs up the phone and he gets mad. But I do see on the GPS on his phone that he has kind of made his way back from where he was, way past the protest and our home. Now you're coming back to the house. And the only reason I had the GPS on his phone was early, and not to talk about everybody, but earlier that, I think a few months back, his sister's husband drinks a lot. So we had all gone out one night at this club, and the husband, in his usual fashion, gets too drunk, and my husband now takes him outside to give him some fresh air and kind of calm him down, because he's getting kind of hyped, and somehow walking through the crowd, my husband lost his, well, at the time, he wasn't my husband. My ex lost his phone. My fiance lost his phone. So he was so worried, oh, somebody's going to steal my phone. I can't find it. We're calling it in the club, but you can't hear stuff like that. So, okay. When we got home that night, I sent him a request location sharing, just in case somebody picked it up. They could, I could see where the phone was. Well, we got home later that night. I called the manager of the club. They found the phone. Nobody's going to jail. He had a iPhone 7 in 2020. Nobody was going to jail for that. Okay. But I kept assuring him that his phone was going to be there.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going into too much detail, but nonetheless, that's how I had the tracker on his phone, because when he picked it up, he accepted it and never turned it off. So that's how I kind of found that he wasn't doing what he was saying he's doing. Mm-hmm. So that kind of whole week was pretentious. We didn't really talk. The plans for the wedding kind of had come to a halt, because I'm like, yeah, you lied to me about this, and I don't know where you were or why you were there, but the fact that you even lie about it make it seem like. So we went on for maybe 3 weeks arguing. He's trying to buy me gifts out the blue, take me to my favorite lunch, and offering all these things. Again, that's a guilty conscience. So from that point, I kind of was giving him the cold shoulder in the house. He was like, well, you know what? Me and mom are going to leave. Okay, fine. They moved out that next month. And the date that we were going to get married that year, which was 10/20/20, passed. Came and passed. We had, like I said, we broke up. no contact, all of that stuff. Um, Probably I needed his help like November of 2020. And when he did, I go shopping like I have a truck. I have a coupe. So I was out at the store. I had put these tables and these like bar stools. And then when I get to the register, I'm like, oh, how am I going to get this stuff home? Who do I know here with a truck? He had a truck. So I just called him, and this was like a month after we were to be married. Like I said, we had talked just like through text. We hadn't really been talking, since they moved out. Like, we had hashed things out supposedly, but again, I had let it go because it wasn't meant to be. That's how I felt. So when he came back to help me, um, delivered the stuff to my house, basically said he was so sorry he did the things he did. This is what the big brand, and this was the hard love bombing here. I had already experienced it, but now you're trying to get me back. So that love bombing was a little harder. It was shorter.
Hoover slash love bombing all over again.
Yeah, it was shorter, but it's more intense this time because now you actually have dealt with me and you know the type of person I am. So you are definitely trying to get me back. I mean, this love bomb here was so hard, and I didn't see it as a love bomb because now you come back, you're so apologetic. I mean, you're so tear. I mean, even tears in your eyes. You probably had just sniffed some onions or something, but it was crocodile tears because of everything that happened afterwards. Um, so like, I mean, buying me things that I wasn't even interested in having. Like, I mean, taking me any and everywhere. I mean, trips. It lasted for like a solid month. Like every other day, it was something. Mm-hmm. Now the other love bombs went over a period of time, but this one was a month. Okay. So I'm like, okay, I'm back in it again. Then we actually get married. So this is November, December of 2020. Going really strong, going hard. Now we're dating. Now we're starting to make plans again, pick up the plans again. And it just so happened some of the plans kind of fell through because of the pandemic. Like the church that we booked, they canceled on us because they were not having any more in-person services, so they refunded a lot of things in 2020. So, we kind of just picked up where we left off. Well, I decided one of the things that was kind of difficult getting the refund back was for the DJ. My mom and I had selected for the wedding in 2020. And so I kind of didn't like the fact that we had to actually go to court to get that money back. Yeah, that wasn't good at all. So I was like kind of mad about the money that we had put out, the difficult time we had to do it. So when we were to get married in April of 21, which we did, I had kind of decided not to put out any money. I was on a like, let's see, let's wait and see. Not that time is a good thing to waste, but that was the only thing I had to lose. I had no children, I had my own house, job, and stuff at the time. So I'm like, let's see, I'm not going to put out any more money, but let's see how this marriage goes. Mm-hmm. So we get married. He paid for everything. It was a small ceremony, pretty much at the courthouse. And then we, went out to dinner with some friends, like a mini reception. We had another reception later. But that was April 2021. I go out of town again, May 2021, to see my mom. She's like 2 hours away from me, 2 or 3 hours away from me. So I go to see my mom, spend a day with her. I actually lavish. Let me jump ahead. When the same week that we got married, he had closed on a house, but that was already in the works. He closed on a house, but I never sold my original house. He bought a second car. He had a truck. He bought a second car, a sports car, asked me to co-sign on it. I wouldn't. Thank goodness I didn't. So that was all going on in April. May, I go see my mom. And when I come back, I just don't have a good feeling. I don't have a comfortable feeling. And yes, we're in his new house. But it's just an uncomfortable feeling just from a few days of me being gone. He had cameras in the house. I was aware of that. His excuse was his mom she can't hear. So he wants to see what she's doing just in case she has any types of falls or accidents while we're not in the house. And, I've never lived in a situation like that. I see your face. I never lived in a situation like that. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess that makes sense, because when she lived with us, I worked from home during it. I was back doing office work by that time. So I was, working from home. And so we didn't need cameras in the house. My eyes are here. And then even when I was out, it was, for different periods, like very short periods of time. And then him and I worked alternating shifts because he worked at night, I worked during the day. So even if I had to go out. So when he told me about the cameras, I'm like, okay, I guess that's what you have to do to take care of your mom. And now there's different steps and it's a different setup here. So he had the cameras in the house. And I keep going off track, but I see your face.
I'm just like, wow. Because I've heard people say that they've been watched, like the cameras being in the house and the keeping the tabs on them. Like I'm just like, wow.
I
Like
didn't realize it. I didn't realize. And again, I'm a relatively smart person. I'm intelligent. Like I said, I have my bachelor's degree and what have you, and with the work I do. But you don't look at. It's just about piecing everything together. You'll see little pieces here and there, but if nothing is glaring out as like illumination, you may not put it with this. But all of those things are puzzle pieces to the bigger picture of this knot. Um, so again, like I said, the neediness, we're going out, first month of our marriage, I've come home, I feel uneasy. Um, and see, and then I'm skipping, I know I'm skipping some things. But for some reason in June, now he had posted me on his Facebook page. And you said I am blurred, right? My face is blurred.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, as you can see, that this is a nickname of mine on my name necklace, right?
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I
So
can.
I wear it all the time because it's sentimental to me. A friend that's deceased gave it to me, so I definitely. I mean, well, gave me that nickname, so I always wear this. Um, he put me on his Facebook page, like wish my wife happy birthday. This is my new wife. When we got married, all of this stuff. So so dumb is in June, I guess some of the dirt that he was doing behind the scenes came about because someone found me based on his Facebook pictures of me by my name because my name necklace is my partially my real name. Partially, it's still a nickname, but it's partially my real name. So I mean, it doesn't take if I have it on in every picture that you're putting up on me. So I go on Facebook one day, him and I just laying across the bed looking at TV. I go across some messages, and it's his ex-wife, the lady who had called me 10 years prior, saying that, hi, this is JJ's ex-wife. I just learned of your marriage. Congratulations. But I'm sure you would like to know what your husband is up to.
Mm.
So I read the messages. She sent me screenshots of their text conversations and all of that good stuff. Um, to say the least, it was inappropriate. I'll just say that. It wasn't. I couldn't. It wasn't nothing that clearly said they had physical contact, but that emotional and that type of conversation. And you were just married 2 months ago. Like that's not appropriate at all.
Mm.
So I kind of gasped, and I was confused as to what to say. So he's like, "What's wrong with you?" He's right beside me. So I'm like, "Oh, I just got a message from and say her name is KK. That's not her name at all. I'm just using initials, not even their initials." And I said, "Oh, KK just sent me a message." So he says, "Oh, what does she want?" I was like, "Well, she wanted me to know the relationship y'all got going on." Oh, she crazy. I don't got nothing going on with her. What she say? So again, which one is it? Which is it? Which is it? So then, so I kind of, he wouldn't tell me any more than I would tell him that she said. You know, he won't just come fast out with it, whatever. Now he's calling his godparents. Now he's called, oh, isn't KK crazy? And then they're putting people on the phone. Yeah, she crazy. She do this, she do that. And I'm like, I read what these text messages said. Like, I know why she called. She called because, okay, you were probably telling her this, telling her that. And then when she tried to pursue it further, then I think because one of the messages said something like, um, she's a grandmother by this point, and she has kids that lived at home with her, I guess. And he was trying to come over there probably during one of his times, right? And she kept saying, these kids are always in the house or one of the grandkids. So she was like, well, look, I can come by you. So he's like, no, well, I should have told you this, but I stay with someone. Stay with someone, Ninja, you're married. What do you mean you stay with someone? So if I wasn't there, I mean, I might would believe that part, but no, I mean, I was at the ceremony. You're married, but this is what he tells her. And I guess, maybe they could pick up the conversation on phone because, like I said, she sent me actual screenshots of their text conversations. So, I won't, turn the phone around and show him, but I'm like telling him, a little bit by a little bit to see, okay, well, what about this? And what about that? So, like I said, he's called all these people, he's called 3 people to say how KK is crazy and all of this stuff. So then he was like, you know what? I was wrong. I shouldn't have talked to her. But you know what? I'm gonna talk to her one last time, and I'm gonna find out why she did this. Why she did it? She did it because you thought you was gonna fuck. I mean, sorry, I'm getting.
Don't be sorry.
You thought you was gonna jump around on her, get your fill, and that'd be it. Like if any female that knows you have a wife and it is dealing with you, and this is the craziest thing about guys that I don't get. If a female will deal with you knowing that you have a wife or having an inkling that you have a wife, she'll go along with it so she's getting what she wants. The moment she does not,
Wisdom. Thank you.
it's over for you. She's calling everybody. She's calling fire brigade. Like it
Oh my God. So smart, they're stupid.
and that's the thing. And that's the thing. So after a few more days of arguing, I just left because I'm like, I can't, I didn't get married for this. So I came back to my house.
Okay.
And one of the things that I unfortunately left, I had just bought these 275-inch TVs that he had moved down to his house, to the other house that he purchased. And so I'm like, oh, I'm done, but I need my TVs back. So,
Right.
so I'm calling him every day. I'm calling him every day. Oh, and yeah. So I think before I left, let me say this before I left, because like I said, we arguing now for 2 days after this text message comes out. And he was like, well, you can get everything. You can get the GPS on my phone, my passwords, I'm gonna be transparent to you, da 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 da, all of the good stuff. And I didn't even think like, no, I didn't get married to become a detective. Like that's not even the field. I could have went to school for forensic anything if that's what I wanted to do, but I didn't. So I just was like, okay, it's not the type of marriage I wanted, but okay. But I still moved with that information. So a few days went by and he would not give me my TVs back, maybe like a week or two. And maybe I called him the last time on the wrong day, or he maybe was having a bad day. Cause like I said, I had moved back to my house. And I'm like, look, you need to bring my TVs back today. I'm not playing with you. You need to get whomever to come bring them TVs back. So he was like, look, I ain't bringing shit back. So I'm like, oh, you're not? No problem. Then this is kind of petty on my part, I will admit, but I called the lawyer to make sure I couldn't get like sued for this before I did it. I had all of his passwords. So I went into his Facebook page and I changed the password.
Period.
And then I posted all of the text messages that his ex-wife had sent me of them.
Mm,
And
mm.
um basically exposing him, because I know, people want to tell their side, and he had been doing stuff like this for a long time to women. I just knew it, but I wasn't able to prove it. um so I exposed him that way. You mean like that situation brought the flying monkeys out? I know his flying monkeys came out to his rescue, and I'm like, you are coming at me for posting this and saying I'm so petty for posting this. But these are his words. And
Yeah,
this man just got
people do
married.
the wrong shit, okay?
You posted on the wrong stuff.
Oh my God.
And yes, no, that's not the way to air people out per se. But I did call a lawyer to make sure, because I'm that smart. Like, you cover your tracks first. So I called, I put it out. I mean, I'm getting calls. I mean, even on Facebook, they're typing to him on his Facebook page, but they're typing to me because then it's obvious it's me who has it up. I mean, I had a ball of laughs that day. I have argued, and I just say this to say, and even in this situation, I've kind of left out little bits and pieces. I can't tell you every situation that's come up, but it's his ex-wife. It's been other women, even since then, because even after me exposing him on Facebook, I crazily went back in August. And the thing with August is I had started watching the videos on YouTube. So when I went back in August of 2021, I might have started watching them in June or July when I left, because I'm trying to understand what is it that why does this person act like this? Him and I had gone to counseling a couple of times. It was supposed to be long term, but then when I saw that basically we're paying this man, and our insurance didn't pay for this, so we're paying this man 220, I think $25 a wop, and you're not implementing anything. You come right out of here. You're the same way. So we stopped that after a while. Um, so like I said, even after I came back, that's when I think it really ramped up. Then it was just like women after women after women, women after women after women on Facebook. Like, since I had his passcode, and how smart he is, he had a phone that he had when we were dating, because he had upgraded phones, same passcode. So when I found that phone, I plugged that in, same passcode. I was able to read everything from 2016 to date. So that put a whole new perspective on things. I could see in real time that you're on Facebook, you liking all these women pictures, you're basically propositioning women on Messenger. Um, Let me see. And then I mean, even to the point where it was laughable, because I saw he actually reached out to Kelly Price. Yeah.
I'm done. That was it for me. Okay. See you guys tomorrow. What
Right.
you mean?
I'm like, this man has a problem. So one of the things I kind of confronted him with some things. I couldn't really say, "Oh, I just got your old phone and you're so smart. It's the same passcode that you sold me for the new phone," which is so silly. Like, how would you? How would you? Especially if you're going to do this, because even the first time when the wife um texted me, or even, like messengered me, I called his brother, and his cousin that he calls brother, but the one that was saying that the aunt needed to move. I mean, that his mom needed to move from the aunt. He calls him brother, but they're really cousins. So I called him and I said, the one thing that gets me about him, I mean, I'm a realist. I understand how things happen, and people may look at monogamy or relationships differently. Two things I have a problem with him is he's so sloppy with what he's doing. I'm not even looking for half of the stuff. He puts it in my face. Like, with this girl calling me, or instant messaging me, like, that's so sloppy. Like, if you're going to be this guy that has all these people on the side, you need to handle that. Mm-hmm. You're not that guy, so don't do it. That's for one. Like, don't let it come to your house. How do you do that? So so that's for one. But then you're not even thinking past, how this is going to affect you down the line. So just
Right.
crazy. So I kind of have probably skipped over a whole lot of things. I've been talking so long. But the thing that made me definitely leave, like I saw the women, I'm going through this. And like honestly, when he left for work at night, because I had work to do, I'm working from home, at the time. I had so much work to do that I would wait for him to go to work at night to kind of scour through this phone and like get more and more information. I mean, emails that he sent to women. Um, just one even alluded to like he had a sex worker. Like I saw this note in his phone, like it wasn't like clear. Like maybe he already knew somebody and she was a sex worker, and they just met up. But again, you don't know once the text conversation or the email conversation stops. You don't know what happened physically. Did they actually meet? Did they not? It was nothing I could really prove per se. The last straw for me was, again, his mom is living with us. She reads a lot, even though she's deaf, she reads a lot, gets a lot of different books. One of the nieces, and they're from the South, like the deep South, like Mississippi, and all of that stuff. So I just noticed a few things about his mom that kind of was a little off-putting to me. But again, that's his mom, and now she's my mom. I mean, my mom-in-law. So I have to kind of embrace certain things. Um, she was started to become very sneaky around the house. And I had noticed that in my house when they were here, maybe because I'm here and I kind of am on my main floor, kind of maintaining things. But I had noticed she kind of was sneaky. She was always like taking things. I would notice a few of my things like in her room. Like if I happen to come through the garage way and kind of like look in her room, I would see things of mine on her dresser. I'm just like, okay, but is this, again, I've never had anybody with that disability. So I don't know, is this something they do? Are they just trying to be close to you? Because one of the things she used to do when she liked somebody, she would play with their ears. And I thought maybe a fascination with ears was because she couldn't hear. I don't know. Um, so nonetheless, she got to the point where she was taking so many things and she was always in my room. Like when I would like run to the store, she would be in the room. And it was like she had her own room. She had the whole living, dining room area to lounge out, all these places. So why would you be in my room or our room? So one day I got to the point where I would have to lock the bedroom door when I left the house. If I even ran to the gas station to get something, like yeah. One day I forgot to do it. And like I said, I already been noticing things on my dresser. And again, another thing that she did, and I don't think this has anything to do with whatever, but um, she used to always film on me. And I told him I was uncomfortable with his mom patting my butt. It was like she would pat my butt, kind of like like basketball players, but she would. We're not playing any sports. Why are you touching me like that? My own mom doesn't touch me like that. I mean, it's one thing if my husband is doing that, but she would do it. And I remember I would bring it up to him, and he would be like, "Oh, well, she doesn't mean any harm. I'm a grown woman. I don't need anybody, touching my behind or whatever." But she continued. Um, and this is the thing. That one time I forgot to lock the door. I went to the store, and then I kind of was going to be gone for maybe 2 hours. I forgot something at the house, and I came back in 7 or 8 minutes. She had left from downstairs. She was upstairs in the bedroom, laying in the bed on my side of the bed. She had left her room with her queen size bed, walked up the stairs, past a L-shaped sofa that she lounges on every day to watch TV. Anyway, to be in our bedroom. And if she was, even if she was sick, it was a hall bathroom before you even get to the bedroom. And then, of all things, you're laying on my side of the bed. So I didn't know what was going on. I walked in the bed, and again, I'm not even thinking she's there. I just go straight. I don't even look in her room. I go straight from the garage because I forgot something. I just got to get what I got to get. So when I walk through the bedroom door and I see her, she's like getting up. She sees me and she's like, now I'm getting up. So I'm like, what? So again, I don't know a lot of sign language, but I'm like, because that's the same in any, like what? What are you doing here? She then proceeds to see a T-shirt or something that I left on the bed, and now she's acting like she's holding the shirt. I'm like get out of here! Like, what are you doing? So I was so disturbed by that because that's really odd behavior. I've never had that happen.
Oh, that's
I
extremely.
can't I can't wait for him to get home, right? So I'm like, that's weird because I've been having weird feelings about different things that's going on around here. Why she always have my things in her room, not your stuff. You're her son. Why don't she have your things? Why does she have my things in her room? And like,
Wow.
so when he comes home, I say, you know, I don't know what we were going to do about this, but we kind of get a different type of lock on the door because, it's easy for me to forget to lock it because you have to do it manually. I should be able to push it and go or something. So I said, I don't understand why your mom was in our room like that. That makes me feel very uncomfortable. The first thing he says out his mouth is, what do you think? She was doing some voodoo? Now, I had already thought certain things before because of the items of mine that was in her room. Now, cannot prove this. I cannot prove this, but I do believe because of where she is from that she maybe has been, like at least introduced to the concept. I don't know how deep she could be or not be into it, but it was times that I was so hot in that house and everybody would be cold. I wasn't going through menopause or anything like that. Just started. I'll be 50 in April. So that just started. But like, it was times like, and it wouldn't be in every area of the house, it would be just in certain areas. I remember when I laid down in that spot that she laid in, and she had probably had been doing this for a while, but that's maybe the first time I caught her. In that spot that she was laying in, I would lay down and it would feel like it was a heat lamp on me. Now, she didn't smoke. I don't know where she would get cigarettes if she had a little voodoo doll or whatever of me. Because again, I'm a hairstylist, so I was always doing my hair, doing different things to my hair. I don't know why some of the things that was down in her room, like pieces of clothing of mine. I remember she has a buzz cut, like just to keep her hair, like really close and short. Why would you have combs and brushes of mine in your room? Like, so it's things that when I look back on it and I piece it all together, I'm like, what the heck?
Wow.
So once all of that started going on, and he was like, "What do you think she's doing voodoo?" I just like, you know what? That's the evil spirit. That's enough that I've dealt with. Your evil demonic spirit, and like I said, at the same time, I'm learning more and more about narcissism because I had started in June of this year. So now it's like August. I mean, it's like August, September, like September, October, and I think that was the final straw for me. Um, and then I think we got in a really bad argument. Oh no, the final straw was we got in a really bad argument one day. He went on to work. I stayed home. The next morning, I get up and I see his Apple Watch and the conversation that he's having with yet another woman. Like, that's what I started to say. I've been doing hair since I was 13 years old. I've never had issue with women. Like, I get along with women great. Like, I don't argue with beef. Like, if anything, if we have a problem, I'm going to smash it because I don't have those issues. Like, I can find a common point with any woman. Like, I never really have beef with women. Since this marriage, I can say I have three sworn enemies. I've had to take a restraining order out against one of his so-called friends, um, just because again the lies that he said, the flying monkeys, like all of those people. Now I'm sure they don't like me because of the things he said. I've even read their conversations, like when I had access. I mean, when I left the first time, whatever he told them was like, "Oh, I tried to keep her, she still left." And then one girl was like, "Oh yeah, she's a runner. She's a track star." Now, Harley, I got staying power, but I'm not going to stay for mess. And so that's what it ended up being. So when I saw, hey, I can't even rest in here comfortably because I feel like something is going on spiritually. Thank God I'm prayed up. So, whatever was going on between, because it's strange. The first thing you say is, "What do you think she's doing voodoo?" That's telling to me. So I leave, um, and I'm gone for good. So I leave. I think it was September or October 2021. We got divorced 2022. He still stalks to this day. He just so when I left, I blocked him on everything. Email, Facebook, um, phone. On my go, I had a Google number, not my ghost number, but my Google did that. I had to get a restraining order against him. He sent me a threat saying, because we had a joint credit card, I used that like to kind of reestablish myself in my house since I had, took all my cable and stuff down there. I'm like, okay, well, I'm back here now when I moved back. So I used that to kind of get my cable on quick here and all this stuff. So he sent me a threat saying, if you use my card again, I'm going to release this naked picture of you that he had taken of me one day just getting out the shower. So I'm like, I'm the type of person is you some things is too far over the line. And that one is because my thing is you are so-called my husband, because we still were married, even though had just moved out like 2 or 3 days before, and you would threaten me like that. You have no care or consideration for me. Not even again piecing it together, definitely with the narcissism, but some of the other things are now coming into focus. How every time we went somewhere, you would try to catch somebody's eye, or and again, I'm like, what? You looking around and no. And then very jealous. We
Oh,
would we would go to cookouts or different places. Women, not just men, women would be like, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful. Oh, your chocolate skin, you're so beautiful." And he wouldn't smile. And when we would leave, he was like, "Why every time we go somewhere, somebody gotta say my wife beautiful?" And I'm thinking, I'm not a man, but I would think a man would stick his chest out. Yeah, that's my girl.
you think? Oh my goodness.
And so just with all of those things playing in my head, I had become so anxious. Again, like I said, not couldn't wait till he go to work so I can now scour through, find, what I'm actually looking for, what is really going on, the mother and her little weirdness you taking from me.
Yeah.
It was just so much. Sorry. It was just so much. I left. And like I said, I got the restraining order against him. We went to court. Of course, it got granted because he lied. He said that he didn't do it, but he's so smart. You text my Google number. It was a Google number that you text, but you text it from your real phone number that's on the court documentation, not only from us getting married, but yeah, they're little. And that was the thing. I do pride myself on my intelligence. That's what I used to tell him. I'm like, when I left, that was one of the last words he heard me say to him. I said, when I leave here, now I knew it was going to be hard because when you're used to somebody being in your life for that long of a time, they kind of become a fixture and they do, fill certain voids or whatever. But no, you have to fill those voids on your own. You can't just look at, other people to help you, recover or grieve or whatever else you're going through. But it's just like, I used to tell him, you may be older than me, but you'll never be smarter than me. Like, you just don't think. You think right here, but you have to think through the situation. Think about possible, or if this goes like this, or what if it doesn't go like this? He didn't. When I left there that day, the day that I left, he was at work. He got off at noon. I had packed up everything. And because I knew the cameras were, rolling, I disconnected the Wi-Fi. So no camera access. You're not going to see anything that's going on here while I'm packing my things. So I packed everything when he came to the house. I had packed my coupe. Again, I still had a coupe small, packed it to the front. But I still had some items. I told him, I know you just got off work, but I need you to put the rest of my items in your car, follow me to my house, and I'm done with this marriage. I'm not, keep going through this.
Mm. Wow.
So like I said, I thought it was going to be hard, but it's doable.
Yeah, it is. It gets better as time goes on. It's definitely a painful experience, you
Mhm.
because you've been in this vicious cycle with this person, breaking up, making up, breaking up, making up, breaking up, and you don't know that you're dealing with somebody who's never gonna get it. Never.
Never.
Everything you've mentioned, I resonated to the T. Every sign, every red flag. I've been in awe listening. I'm like, wow. The jealousy, the projection, the rage, the pettiness, the childishness. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
then the mother, and then the mother and the spiritual aspect of the mother, and then it makes sense why the child is so jacked up.
Right.
Ooh,
And so,
my
and it was
mind.
so, and it was so much. Like I said, I know I've talked for a long time because I am a talker, but it just was so much that situation. I was just like, I have to tell somebody about this because even though I can't go over every single detail, it was unbelievable. But I will say, going through that, it kind of made me look at a lot of the relationships that I had growing up in my life and why I was even willing to deal or put myself in a situation like that. And I realized I had a parent, a
That
narcissistic
that was
mom.
going to be my final question. Where do you think, or what do you think your role was, or what did this do or show you? So I'm so happy you said that, because this is my closure. It's like, because we got to look at ourselves.
Yeah.
It points the finger back at you. Why did you allow this? Such why are you such a people pleaser, or why are you so nice? Why do
Mm-hmm.
you have to give your all in that way? What caused you to ignore the red flags? What caused you to keep going back? All those questions are important for us on the other end. So I'm so happy you said that. And it sounds like you said you realized you had a narcissistic mother growing up.
I did. I didn't even understand it there because this is your mom. This is just what you deal with.
Yeah.
And I remember growing up and like, this is my mom. She's like really strict. She's this, she's that. But I look at other people's,
That was the key
mom,
word, really strict. That's
really strict.
that
And
really
very strict and judgmental too. Like if
very
it wasn't
very criticism. Ooh, if
very critical
look, I gotta look.
and I didn't get it, like that's
Wow.
why I told you I resonated because I could tell certain things you said. I'm like, I don't, not that I know you, but I'm like I resonate with what she's saying because we probably have been through some very critical about your looks, grades, um, where you should go to college. Like my mom even told me, like if you go here, I'm not paying for anything.
Yeah.
She said, no, you're going to go
I was
here.
forced to go to the college that I went to. It wasn't
Me
like,
too. And I wanted, and the school I was choosing probably was for the wrong reasons, but it still should have been my choice. But
yeah,
no, she told me if you look, you can go there, but I'm not paying for nothing. I'm not paying for anything. So she was definitely all aboard when I went to the school of her choice. It wasn't even her alma mater. She didn't go to a private college. She wanted me to go to this private college, HBCU, yada yada yada. Okay, so yeah, so I realized it, and it kind of slapped my face as like it's on my face during my separation with my husband because I kind of like I was kind of I'm trying to figure out what I'm going through. I'm learning all this stuff on YouTube, listening to all these great content creators, you as well,
yeah,
and I'm telling my mom about it. And I'm like, I think he's a narc, and he did it. And she said, look, now I probably had talked to her, and probably had been a 3 weeks, a month into me leaving the first time. She was like, look, I need you not to eat, sleep, and drink this. You're talking about it all the time. And I'm like, what? The fact that you want me to get over it right now, like this is something new to me. Like again, I've never been through this, I've never been married before, I never have gone through this level of betrayal that I've experienced like this. And he also had the same attitude when his ex-wife texted me. Instant messaged me. He was like, "How long are you going to talk about this,
Mm.
sir? It's been 2 weeks. What are we talking about here?"
Shut up. Push it under the rug already. Like, don't stop there. No, 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 no,
So,
no.
so when she did that, it almost like smacked my face. Like, wow, yeah, that's kind of narcissistic. That your oldest daughter, your first child to even get married, is going through this, and you want me just to brush over it like it's nothing. So it kind of made me start reevaluating things for her and looking at narcissistic mothers now on YouTube and online and different things like that. And she fit the trait, but again, and see, for me, I'm the truth teller in the family.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of realize my role in the family. I have a brother, younger brother. He's the golden child.
Okay.
My sister is the scapegoat. I hate to say, like, cause and I think her and I alternate sometimes.
Yep.
Um,
Sweet
but
dog.
yeah, he's the only yeah.
You
But I
alternate.
usually tell the truth, and I call truth power, and I let people know, hey, this is this, especially now.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my goodness. I I'm a little over on my time. I'm gonna get
I'm
ready.
sorry.
No, it's okay. It's all right. It's perfect.
I'm,
It's worth it. It's worth it. I'm just so happy that you shared your story. Thank you all for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. And like I said, if you want to share your story, please don't hesitate to do so. But I'm so grateful for this beautiful woman and being brave and courageous to share what you shared. This was so deep and so good, like and so confirming and validating. Like, oh my goodness. But I wish you nothing but the best on your healing journey. Just keep moving forward and be proud of yourself for walking away. No matter how long it took, you did it. And that's what
Mhm.
you're finally learning some life-changing things. You can heal your life, and that's what it's about. So thank you, sis. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you too, and keep putting out wonderful content.
Thank you.